Hello, I'm Jagan from Grow with Data. Welcome to the Crack SQL Interview in 50 question series. In this video series, we'll practice 50 SQL questions across various topics. You can use the playlist Crack SQL Interview in 50 questions to follow the videos related to this series. For each video in the series, you can find the related code on my GitHub. Feel free to explore the code and provide any feedback in the comment section. Now let's dive into the 40th video of the series, and this is the fourth question related to the topic subqueries. Let's see the data and we can talk about the question in detail. So we are given a customer table. Let's create it. So the customer table got customer ID, the customer's name, visited on, and how much amount they spent on the restaurant. So basically, in this table, the customer ID and the visited on is a unique identifier. That means one customer can go to the restaurant on one day and he can pay the amount. So one customer don't have two records on the same day. And there are few assumptions. One is every day at least one customer will visit that restaurant. That means you got one record, at least one record per day. And what we are trying to do is we are going to find the moving average of 7 days. The reason being the restaurant owner, he want to analyze the possible expansion of the restaurant. So he want to know how much revenue he get in a week. So he wants to see what is the moving average of how much the customer paid in the 7 days window. So that is what the need is. So what we have to do, since we have at least one record a day, we are going to find the moving average for 7 days. When you say moving average 7 days, that means current day plus previous 6 days of record. And we have to output the average amount round to 2 decimal place and order based on the visited on. So basically this is a sliding window, and we have few videos and the previous questions. We use the same sliding window logic, right? So basically it's a self join with the table, and you get the specific interval of records, and you just sum up or do average or whatever you need. So the expected output is going to be for the days which got 7 days of moving window, you get the amount and the average amount spent on that 7 days. So if you see the data from April 1st till April 6th, if you see the interval, the window, we have only 2 days or maximum 6 days of interval. If we see April 3rd, we got only 3 days of window, including April 3rd. Till April 6th, you got only 6 days of window, but we need 7 days of window interval. So it starts with April 7th. So when you say April 7th, you consider the amount for that day plus the previous 6 days. So you got 860. And for 8, you got from April 2nd till April 8th, so 840. And for 9th, it's from 3rd till 9th. And for 10, you got 2 records. So you aggregate for 10 and then go till 4. So it's 1000. So you get the total amount and then you find the average. So the 10 is one of the edge cases. If you find one record, what happens? If you have more than one record for the day, what happens is going to be the edge case. Okay. So this is what the expected output is. Let's comment this out, and we are going to start with our self join. So what we are going to do? We are going to select from customer table, say C1, inner join customer table C2 on. Since you are going to find the interval and there is no partition here, we don't have any where condition one-to-one join. So what you are going to see, where on one-to-one and C2 dot the visited on, that date should be between the 7 days of interval, right? So when you say 7 days, you say date add C1 dot visited on interval minus 6 day and C1 dot visited on. So we have to get the current day plus previous 6 days. So we got 7 days of interval. So what we need, we need C1 dot visited on, and then you get the sum of C2 dot amount. So C1 will be the primary table. C2 will get all the records between that date. So we get the C2 dot amount as amount, and then we are going to find the count of C2 dot visited on date as count. I show you why we need a count. Okay, since we use aggregation, I say group by the visited on the first column. So let me drag this. When I run this, if you see the record, it's order by order by 1, so we can see the record on the date level. So if you see this, from April 1st till 6th, you got 710 on April 6th. After that, for April 7, 860, April 8, 840, April 9, 840. When you come to April 10, you got 2000, but we're supposed to get 1000. So if you find this one, April 10th till April 4th, you're supposed to get sum of 1000. So why you have 2000? Because you got two records, right? So first record, it will go self-join with the C2 table, and then C2 table will bring the sum of 1000. And then the second record connect with C2 table and get the record for 1000. So if you have three records, then it's going to be 3 times 1000. So it's going to be duplicated. So all the other records are exactly the same sum because there is no duplicates. There's only one record per date. But if you have more than one record per date, then it's going to be duplicated for the whole sum. So how will I fix it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this data set at the visitor ID, visited on date level. So how will I do that? Select visited on sum of amount as amount from customer table group by 1. So this will give me the data set at the visited on level with aggregated customer as. So I'm getting the data set at the visited on level, so there won't be any duplicates. So I will go here, replace the main table with the CTE table. When I run this, for April 10th, I got 1000 records. So the dollar value is 1000. There won't be any duplicates because both the records got aggregated and becomes one record. So you get 280, right? And then you can eliminate the duplicate. So that's a big fix. When you say date add, right? So if you don't want to use date add and minus, you can simply say date sub and then say interval 6 days. So however you want to. I normally use date add for most of the things. I just put date add and plus or minus based on the previous or next record. Okay, now you got all the dates and then the interval sum. If I want to get the average, I can simply say sum of this divided by 7 and then round to 2 decimal place, and then you say average amount, and then I can run it. Sum of this, oh sorry, round. So round that sum by 7 to get the average. So I get the average amount also. But what I need is, I need only those dates which got the 7 days of window, right? So if this one got 1 day window, 2 days and 6 days window, I don't want it. So how will I do it? I can use this count. The output, they don't need this, right? So I just disable this. I do having, because it's aggregated level filter, I say having count equal to 7. So now I get records only having the windows for 7 days, right? I get only those records, which is the expected output. Great. So this is normal self join, and since you have duplicate at the visited on, we use the CTE table and made the record at the visited on level, and then we use that. So how to use this at the Windows function level? So this is a self join. How to do that at the window function? So our favorite window function is row num, all that, right? But here we are not going to use a row num. We are going to use the lead lag logic, right? So lead is going to be the previous record, lag is going to be the, sorry, lead is going to be the front next record, and lag is going to be the previous one. So we need the 6 days interval of current date and the previous 6 days, right? So we are going to find that logic. How to start with? We say select from customer table, and I'm going to say visited on, and then sum of amount. How will I do it? Over, we have to order based on the visited on, order by visited on, and I need the current record and previous 6 days record, right? So rows between interval 6 day or 6 preceding and current row as amount. So I'm saying get me the sum ordered by the visited on, and the rows should be the rows between 6 preceding and current row. There's no interval for this. So because you're using at the row level, row between 6 preceding and current row. If I do a count of visited on, I can say the same part as count. If I run this, I am going to get the same part. I get 100, 210, 330, 460, 510, 710, 860, 840, 840. If you see the 10, right, April 10th, it says 850 and 870, because when you're at April 10th, what we say? We say rows between 6 preceding and current. That means 6 rows before that and the current row. So current row is 130 and 6 preceding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to be 850 as a sum. So it will consider only the dates and then it gets it. So if there is a duplicate rows, then it won't consider the date. So it's going to be a problem, right? If there is one more record, which is April 4th, then it will stop till the last record. It won't go completely with the April 4th. Same way, when it comes to last record, it will take current record plus 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it becomes 870. Sum equal to 870, which just shows up here. So exactly it get 7 records from the current one. The current one plus the 6 previous. 7 records is what it looks for when I use the rows. So when I use row, I have to make sure I do at the visited on level, right? I just do a CTE table at the visited on level, and then I use that table here. And if I use that function, now it will be the exact one. It gets at the visited on level, it goes till 7 records, it get the sum, and you got the row count as 7. This works. Now I can use this as the another CTA table, and I will say overall visits as this. I say select visited on and then amount If you want average, you can do before, or you can just say amount by 7, and then you have to round up to 2 decimal place and say round up as average amount from overall visits. The condition is where the count is equal to 7. So now I got only those records which got the 7 days of window, and get only those 4 records, and it works fine. So only drawback is if I go with row level, you make sure whatever you order by, that data set is at that level, right? If you remove the CT table, then it's get only the exact current row plus 6 rows. So whatever the date is. So this has a very big restriction. If we don't have a CT table, then the data is really going to be horrible. So how will I address this? Instead of using the row level, there is something called range level. So let's use the range. So what we are going to do is, we say get the amount order by visited on. Instead of row, you just say range. Range between, now you say interval 6 day preceding and current row. So what I'm saying, you get the sum of amount, you order based on the visited on date, and then the range should be, is not the row. Okay, we are not going at the row level. We are going at the range. Range between the date interval is 6 days preceding and the current row. Go with the current row and 6 days preceding. How many hour visited on date is, you go 6 days before, right? From customer. So if you want to get the count, you can just get, instead of sum, I can say count. I can say amount because it's just going with the row level, right? So it get the visited on as count. If I run this, let's see what happens. So I get all these records here. So till 6, it's going to be the same 710, and then 860, 840, 840. But if you see the April 10th, it will go with the same range. It goes with this one and then get the whole range. So you get 1000. For the last record, it goes with the same range till April 4th and get 1000. So every record, it goes with till the April 4th range and get 1000. And the number is exactly duplicated. So what I can do, I can say distinct. So when I run this, I eliminate the duplicate part, which is exactly duplicate, right? So I can get the distinct. Even if there's duplicate in some other date, it will just be eliminated and the range will look for the current date and 6 days. Get that? 7 days of interval. And if you see the count, if there is duplicates, then it will be more than 7. So previously we did equal to 7, right? So for this, we can get the CTE table with overall as this, get the visited on to the same process, get the amount and the average amount, and we just say the count is greater than or equal to 7. So if then there is duplicate, we can address that. So the previous one is at the row level, it exactly looks for current row and the 6 rows preceding. But here, whatever be the number of rows, you go with the range of date, current date, and get the 6 days before that. So you get the thing. So only thing is, when you do the count, we can't do the distinct of it. We just get the count. So if there is more than one record on the date, it will be greater than 7 because we are hard coding here as 6, right? So there won't be any date which is more than 7. It's going to be 7. So whenever I do the count, I make sure it's greater than or equal to 7, so that I bring in all the records. So to summarize this, first we did a self join, and we connect the table, and the interval is the date between the -6 days and the visited on. So you get the 7 days for the C2 table, and then use the C2 table to get the amount and the count, and then you filter based on the count. The problem is, if there is more than one record for the visited on level, it will be a problem. So you create a CTE table, aggregate the data at the visited on level, and filter it. Same happens when you go with the rows filter. The rows will exactly get the current row and the 6 rows before order by the visited on. So this is not going to work. So we do the same CTE table logic, aggregate the data at the visited on level, and get the 7 records. To overcome this rows restriction, we go with the date range. So order by the visited on and get the range of current date and 6 days preceding. So we get the 7 days of it. Only thing is, if there is duplicate visited on, the count is going to be 7 or greater. So we just say greater than or equal to 7 and you filter it. If you want to see this code, then you go to YouTube channel Grow with Data. This video will be tagged into Crack SQL Interview in 50 questions. If you want a Tamil version of it, you create Tamil Crack SQL Interview in 50 questions. If you go into this video, and in the description part, you have the GitHub link. It will take you to the code base where you have the create table and select statement. This is the 40th video. So this is the 40th. You have the data set, and you have the self join, and then we have the row level, and we have the range level. So we got all the 3 approaches discussed. If you want to join the WhatsApp channel, you can use this link and join Grow with Data WhatsApp channel. Hope you like this video. Thanks for watching.